Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Talk With. If you haven't noticed, I've got a haircut and I'm with a guest. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Aidan O'Connor, or as some people know me on YouTube as SC, or on Instagram as type40_cosplay, or on TikTok as type40cos98. And I do a few fan projects. I'm involved with a few fan projects, such as Fracture Timeline, Overton Audios, TT Productions, Instability Productions. And I have my own, and as I said, I have my own TikTok where I do a couple of videos, and I just do a bit of cosplay as well. So yeah, wide variety.
That's kind of the first thing I want to lead into. First thing first, how are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm grand. I just honestly just chill day. It's very warm over here in Ireland at the moment, so I'm kind of trying to keep as cool as possible. Just got the window wide open, but
Me
the only
too, me
problem
too.
is there's yeah, I think it's the same over in England at the moment for people. But definitely, like, the only issue I have is that window's open and there's a concert literally 5 minutes down the road. So if we start hearing any music, then that makes sense.
Yeah, and first thing I want to talk to you about is, of course, your cosplay, which I believe you dress up as Spider-Man and a few other characters, if I'm right, because I looked at your Instagram, of course, and I follow you on there, and it's a rather amazing cosplay, if I say so myself. What's it like owning a cosplay account on here?
Um, it's interesting because, like, I kind of mix and match it a bit. Like at the start, it was sort of just Doctor Who and all that stuff. Like, I did a bit of David, the 10th Doctor, the
Mm.
11th Doctor, the 12 at one point, and I just sort of it sort of just kind of fizzled out at some point, just because I really got into I the sort of start of all it was I lost a lot of weight, and I just thought I'll cosplay Spider-Man, and then it just went on from there. I
Hmm.
did a few other, cosplays from that time, and now it's moved on to Batman, the Flash, and like I always try and upgrade, update them every time, and
Yeah.
it's always improvement. It's like my cameras, like, I mean, I've gone from a Canon 100D to a Sony A7 Mark
Mm.
II because it's those things in life, you really, because
Mm.
it's nice to have it, and in a weird way, it's like kind of nice little diary because you're able to, like, look back through it and just be like, oh, I remember I was at that point, and
Yeah, it's
just
quite it's one of the wonders of social media. Of course, you get all the bad stuff alongside the wonders, but of course you have like it can be used as a diary, and I think yeah, it's a great way of doing it with cosplay. I think I follow quite a few cosplay accounts, and they're all amazing, and you included, of course. And
no,
yeah, I can imagine the reaction is for the most part positive. I mean, I can't really imagine anyone having any, negative
yeah. I
reactions
mean,
from it.
it's a like, where I always implore, and advise anyone, if they want to get into cosplay, go for it. Whatever you want to do, because
Hmm.
I mean, I've been doing it now for the last, I'd say nearly 10 years now. Like, I mean, I remember the first one I did was for the Doctor Who X 58th celebrations. I did like a mixed
Wait.
match of a
Was that the Excel 50th anniversary
yeah
stuff? I was
the
actually
Excel.
there. I was there
Oh man,
myself when I was 10 back then. I was a wee young 10-year-old and I went around dressed as Matt Smith. I'm actually on the Doctor YouTube channel because they got kids dressed up as like the Doctor to go on like the TARDIS set for free, and like they
yeah.
had to audition to be the next Doctor, and I'm actually in that video. Uh
Yeah, you
which
just kind of you just outed yourself there. Now it's
Mhm,
everyone is
mhm.
gonna
I've got it in the
literally every
playlist on my channel if anyone wants to see it. Because
yeah.
it's quite difficult to find now because it's really in the early days of Doctor Who, the official YouTube channel. But yeah, I mean, cosplay is a thing for everyone. It's a wonderful genre of just any franchise really. Well, not really genre, but genre of the fan base. I feel like
Yeah,
Doctor Who
exactly.
is brilliant for that, but also Spider-Man as well. God knows how many Spider-Man
Oh, I mean, I can't lie, man. Like, the Doctor Who community has been, in the last couple of years, since like probably the 50, it was the real beginning of a lot of
Mm,
it, where it sort of exploded in the UK again. Like, it's
yeah.
really, like, America is insane with it. Like, Gallifrey One had an insane amount of cosplayers showing up to it with, like, Cybermen, the Ood, because they're very they don't just focus on the doctors or companions, they focus on every part of that thing. And now it's slowly coming over to the UK where everybody started doing those. You'd have the three Cybermen group, or you'd have people in, you know, Ice Warriors, or even Silurians going to cons. And it's like, it's insane to see that build up, because it's like the Marvel side. Marvel side has so many people.
Insane. I mean, especially Spider-Man. I mean, God knows. I mean, actually, here's a question: how many times have you been asked to do the pointing picture with people, like the pointing meme? How many times at all of these conventions? Because I can imagine.
I've been asked, I'd say, because obviously nothing's happened till like after, what was it? I think after COVID, but like I think in the last two conventions I've been to, which was LFCC and one up in Dublin, I think it was probably a good couple of times. It's been like, you know, I've just sort of, people would just come over to me and just sort of, you know, so it's well over 20 at least, because and that's just from two conventions, because I literally sometimes I don't even throw on the mask. I just throw on the suit and I'm going around and everyone just looks and says, well, he's got brown hair, he's got blue, you know, he's got brown hair, whatever features that Peter Parker has. And just like the beard is a bit of a weird one, but like they kind of, they'll look at you and go, oh, you're Spider-Man. And then I go, hey, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's I imagine that's a lot of part of the fun. It's not just going there dressed up, but also like talking to people and getting compliments from people based on your outfit. It must be wonderful. I mean, I've cosplayed a few times, but not, you know, full on like Spider-Man or anything.
For me, it's never about like, you know, any kind of clout or all that kind of stuff. Because I just, honest to God, I used to go with the lads back in the day. It was always for the laughs, like it was just, you know, and you know. And also because I bought a lot of merchandise when I was younger. But like nowadays, it's just because I go to see people who I'm friends with, you know, and just be like, hey, do you want to hang out and stuff? And we chill, you know, and if we get some photos on the side, it's like, it's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of like, I say the whole thing about clout now. I've just hit fucking over 1,000 followers on Instagram, which is kind of weird for me to think, because I'm just like, why? I don't understand this. I'm just here to have a laugh and just, you know.
I think that's the beauty of it, really. I think at the end of the day, I always see Comic Con as, you know, like, oh, you can watch like someone dressed as Spider-Man drinking a coffee, or you could pass like Solid Snake or a video game character in like the pathways, or you can just see the most random characters walking across and like say hello to them. And it's insane. It's proper bonkers in the best possible way. I absolutely adore Comic Cons. I've been to a lot of them this year and the end of last year, because I used to go to more local ones before I started going to LFCC, and it started with MCM when I was on that panel with Jack Reeves and that lot.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of reignited my love for like huge Comic Cons. And after what happened at the beginning of this year, for me, I kind of found a new like proper like love for them again. I started going to MCM. That's not really. It's usually like MCM's the one you go for like the atmosphere, while LFCC is one for the guests. But it's also like both of them are atmosphere, because I really enjoyed LFCC, all of them that I've been to this year.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing you at LFCC. I didn't go up because I don't know what happened. It was just like I guess I was going around. I think I was going around with actually George Geidra and all them, and I had no idea what was going on. So I was going from one place to the next, and I was just like, look, I'll get the most out of today. But yeah, and I mean,
I'll have to see you at another one, surely, because I go.
Oh yeah, I'll be going to MCM London this October anyway, so
I'm hoping to go. I have an arrangement which might involve another panel, maybe, but nothing's confirmed yet. And that's not related to Jack Reeves, at least.
No, yeah, it's like it's not about you this time, Jack. Sorry, mate. But yeah, oh no, like I mean, you get a good vibe out of conventions. I mean,
oh yeah.
Definitely the vibe I've heard from MCM is that it's mostly just a real social gathering. Like if you want to just hang out with your mates for the day, just like chilling out the front in the kind of field area and stuff and just having a laugh, do that. If you want to go inside to the guests or partake in any of the, like, you know, all the, you know, because they have activities in there and stuff, you know, you can do that. And that's great for that's great for the younger people going in there, especially kids, because they're new to this. And I have younger relatives who are actually going to it now to see what it's like, and I'm like, you'll enjoy it. You know, it's different, but you'll enjoy it. You know?
God, it must be insane for kids going, no, just walking up and seeing all these different characters that they've seen on TV and movies. It must feel very surreal.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I have a buddy who cosplays a lot of different characters, like Moon Knight, Darth Vader, and like me going up to him, I just go up and go, "Story, boy, what's going on?" And we talk away to each other like it's nothing, you know, because we're just like we know each other. It's fine. But when a kid goes up to you, especially me with Spider-Man, they just see the character. They don't see past like any, especially a 3 or 4 year old. That's because today I had it with like there was a lot of 3 to 5 year olds who were there and they didn't see past the mask. They just saw Spider-Man in front of them.
Of course. I mean, I was very much the same as a kid as well when I went to Doctor Who conventions and like a Silurian walked up to me. I mean, there's a picture of me and a Silurian out there and I'm just terrified.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And like extremely excited and just terrified at the same time. But yeah, go on, you were saying.
No, well, I mean, to be fair, to add on what you were saying, I mean, imagine being a 3 to 4, well, not 3 to 4, but maybe even a 6 to 7 year old in the 70s and just seeing Tom Baker walk into your classroom because he did do that back in the. That would be insane. I could just imagine, like, it'd be nowadays if, like, say, like, if honest to God, if Shooty Gatwa walked into like a big event with a load of like Doctor Who fans, I think, especially younger fans, it would just be insane. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how Russell.
I was there at the LFCC where Jodie was at. I don't know if that's the one you were talking about.
Oh, that's the one I was at. I have the photo.
Yeah. And then I was there when Jodie walked out onto the stage and surprised everyone. And the sheer level of excitement, because I was with Jack Reeves at the time, bringing it back to Jack, and we both knew they were only letting 13th Doctor cosplayers and like on like
I saw it. They're all just kind of bunching them into each other,
and like we just knew Jodie's walking out. There's no doubt. But yeah, conventions generally one of my favorite places to go. Now I feel like a lot of people love clubbing, a lot of people love going out and going to pubs and everything. But when I want what I genuinely love doing more than any of that is just hanging around with friends at Comic Cons. If I want to meet up with friends, it'll most likely be at a Comic Con rather than anywhere else. In terms of Doctor Who friends, at least mainly. Which
I mean, like I saw there, like in that photo, like you referenced back, like 2 things that came to mind when like I was seeing that photo. Fair play to Jodie because she was already pregnant when she was doing the con, and I'm just like fair play to her for getting through the day. But secondly, it was lovely to see, people I knew there, like obviously yourself and Jack were in the crowd, but also Dom. I was just there, like Ollie were kind of everyone who is like. It felt good seeing people being like, happy in that moment where Jodie just came out and was like, yeah, well, I'll get to, I can't do an accent, northern accent, but it's like, but you know what I mean? She came out like, well, I'll get a photo together. And it's like, all right.
Because like, I think Comic Cons this year have given me some of my happiest memories this year. Out of like all the memories from this year, Comic Cons will probably carry some of the happiest memories ever. I think I've met Colin Baker at 5 conventions this year. 5.
I think he knows you by now.
I think so, because at this point I just walk up and talk to him. We just have a general conversation because that's. I feel like with celebrities, you don't have to get anything signed. You don't have to like do any of that. You can just walk up and talk to them, and they're really nice people. I mean, I just ask Colin how his day is every time I see him now, and we just talk about stuff. It's the same with Sophie Aldred. I've met her 3 times this year, and with Sophie Aldred, I actually I've told the story in the Mr. TARDIS one, but I bumped into her after the Comic Con as well, because she was walking towards the train station, and I tripped over her luggage, and I recognized the voice immediately because I wasn't looking where I was going, and then I just accidentally trip over a suitcase, and then I just hear her voice, and it's Sophie Aldred. And we're just walking to the same train station, and she's on the opposite platform. I'm here, she's there. Her train's coming in. She just lets out the biggest wave, and I return the wave as her train's coming, and it's genuinely one of the best moments of this year ever.
Why do I feel like it would have been absolute? Like it would have been hilarious if you just shouted like Ace, just when you tripped up. If you heard her voice and your mind just went straight to McCoy and was like Ace. What are you doing here?
That was if I could do a McCoy voice, I would have done that. But
Uh,
going on to projects that you've been working on and been doing. As you said, you've been working with Fractured Timeline Lot, Daniel and Anya. How's
oh,
that been? Without, of course, spoiling their upcoming episode. I mentioned the
of
Daleks, but
course, because
how's
you know what it is. Dan has a derelict situated, a CG derelict situated right outside my window right now, just pointing a gun at me like, don't worry. I can tell if he's watching right now, he knows he's got it piercing through to me. But yeah, I honest to God, like that, what I can say about the people involved before I go into anything about like the story, like Dan and Anya are two of the most loveliest people I've
Oh yeah,
encountered in my life. Like when the first time I met him was for filming, and the first thing me and Dan did when we met was we just hugged. It was weird. It was like we were gonna go for a handshake. We went, yeah, we'll go for a hug. Why not? But it was a lovely. I remember that time it was a lovely weekend. Like because we had to really, because I could only be there for a certain amount of time, and fair play to Dan. He worked out a really good system of how to get everything done that we needed to do. And he's mentioned it in the podcast before. We literally had to get all my scenes done within nearly 4 days. And it was, for the short time we made such a weirdly strong bond. Like, especially like, because, obviously I played Jordan, who's, Maggie's brother. And it's kind of weird because it's weird in a sense of, I can't say anything, but I know people have an idea of what's going to happen to him,
Yeah.
And I really I try not to give too much away, but I try to be like, in my mind when I was doing it, I'm like, when I play these two different guys, like if I ever, when things if I have to do it, I'm like, they can't be the same guy, there has to be subtle differences. And you'll definitely see it when you watch the episode that the Jordan that they meet is very
dimension, judging by the title.
Very what? Oh.
Different dimensions, so I imagine quite different from one that Maggie knows.
It's like I guess with obviously yourself with Dark Days, you get very different variants of characters and stuff, and they're very much not the same. And it was interesting to do that. And when Dan initially approached me, it's weird. I felt the weird sense of honor, because I was just kind of like, this is a role that's important, because Maggie is one of the central parts of the whole series. And it really,
I recently rewatched series 1 of Fractured Timeline, and I must say the 3 episodes are beautiful, genuinely.
Oh yeah,
some of the best fan films I've ever seen. Some of my personal favorites, especially episode 3. I think that's my personal favorite of the bunch. That one was that one actually it brought a tear to my eye, especially the ending. The ending of episode 3, it was so beautiful. I mean, it's so well written, so just all 3 episodes, and Maggie's arc especially. I look forward to seeing how that continues, especially with Dimension, because of course you're playing her brother, and with not spoiling series 1, he obviously plays a very vital role, and it the way it handles what she's going through, it's very it's strikingly relatable, and I think it's very relatable to a lot of people. And of course, I do want to have this talk with Dan. I do want to invite Dan on here, of course, as well.
Oh yeah, get on you,
Dan and Anya, actually, because they're both brilliant people. They both do.
I mean, they're both. I mean, mate, they both got married. I was I remember, honest to God, I was tearing up seeing them tied in that. It was mental.
So was Connor when he was talking about it the other day, and how how Fractured Timeline has kind of followed them throughout their life, because being the Irish Doctor, they started, and then it's kind of followed them up to this moment.
We kind of we were I remember when we were all kind of talking about it, and we went, it's weird, isn't it? Because because Chelsea was talking about the fact that she kind of pushed Dan to ask her out, and then we were like, wait a minute, they were filming that only a few months after being together, and now they're at this point, and we just were like, it's mad, man. And it's just and it was strange. We were all there, and then I look, we're
Yeah.
all a bit teary eyed, and I look over, and like Chelsea's nearly bawling her eyes out, and it's like it was like it was a lovely moment, and it was just great to when obviously when you go when we came out to greet them, like because it's part of a wedding tradition, I guess, that you greet every guest that
Mm.
came to the wedding, and I was just there like Dan on and give me a hug. It's like you made it, you've done it, it's you're both Mr. and Mrs. Patton. It's
Yeah.
it's lovely, and especially on like if you talk to them by the scenes, it's just it's mental. I'm just so happy for them, and it's lovely to just be a part of their life, through something that just came out of nowhere, and it's I
Mm.
mean, if it weren't for Dan, I wouldn't know Connor, I wouldn't know Chelsea or anyone else. It's a privilege, man, and I'm so thankful to the two of them for giving me anything.
Yeah, I mean they're two amazing people, and although I haven't talked to them as much, I hope to get them on here, of course. I've Dan also made the logo and some of the visuals for Techno, and he's always a joy to talk to. So is
Oh yeah,
Anya. They're both genuine, like joys to talk to. They're always collaborative, always so incredibly nice. It's a privilege to know them. And I do
yeah.
hope to get them on here. That would be brilliant to talk
I,
to them on
I
here
mean,
about it all.
definitely, I can definitely say without a doubt, Dan's helped me out with a bit of my stuff as well as obviously as well as yourself, and it's like the amount it's so nice. Like it's nice working with someone who's like because I'll be honest, I've watched Dan's stuff for probably over the last like 10 to 11 years. I've seen him from the beginning. I've seen
Mm,
him from like the figure adventure days. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but Dan used to make like a good bit of figure adventures. Like a lot of because I used to be a part of that crowd. I used to do a lot of
mm,
that stop motion animation stuff. So when Dan, seeing Dan progress from that to where he is now is it's sort of nice. And and when I remember talking to him about it when we were filming that time ago, and it was just it's strange. Like it's weird looking back on it, but when you look back at it now, when you're looking, at this moment, it's like it's a good progression. It's like it's
yeah.
like myself, like where I came from. I've moved on. I've sort of moved on from the whole figure adventure thing. There's like as much as I love them, I love them because honest to God, it's a great form of media, and
Oh
I
yeah,
know a
yeah,
great
yeah.
I know a great couple of lads who do them. But it's nice moving on to the fan film or audio stuff now because I feel like I'm getting into different
Mhm.
things, different and bigger things,
Yeah,
and seeing
yeah.
what happens with you know.
It's yeah, I mean figure adventures. I grew up on figure adventures as well, really. I mean, I used to watch Batman Arc mainly. That was my
That
go-to.
oh yeah,
I mean,
Batman March, what a legend.
I remember a figure adventure they did called the Ten Doctors, and I was
Yeah,
obsessed with it growing up. I was obsessed with like multi-doctor stuff. I think that kind of influenced Dark Days. It did influence Dark Days. All of my wild childhood ideas about multi-doctor stories, and like just
yeah. I
all of
mean
that.
the eight Doctor series he did was
Mm,
insane. I honest to God, like if I ever had to choose another time more esque like story, that's one of them because it's just
mm,
it was the build up. It was the build up from what he did because he just was like, I'm just gonna make this story. It's not connected to any of Big Finish or anything. It's just my interpretation of how the Eighth
yeah.
Doctor, how his story went and became the Ninth Doctor.
He did his own thing, and it was a magnificent series, I've got to say. Um,
Yeah,
moving on. What would you are creating your own doctor, right?
yeah.
What can you tell us
The
about the future for you and your doctor, and what projects you're setting up, and just general, just yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, like the doctor I'm setting up is called the Burgundy Doctor. I'll actually give a story time to how that sort of happened because Cravat has a backstory, Irish has a
Mm,
backstory, Purple has a backstory to how that name came. So, like Burgundy came from the fact that I used to go when I was, younger college student. I used to go on a lot of nights out with a jacket and a burgundy top,
mhm,
and I'd be going. I was in the club one night and I was with some of my buddies, and I just looked down. I was there and I was looking down at my top, and I just went, I could be the doctor in this. It feels weirdly in my mind. I just went, it feels sort of natural. It feels like a casual, like very Ninth Doctor-esque type thing. Because I don't think a lot of people have done the Eccleston style, which is taking it back to minimalism. Yeah. So I just was thinking for a while I think it was 2019, and then it just sort of delved deeper in 2020 when I started writing things and coming up with ideas. And then in 2021, obviously then that sort of catapulted then after I worked with Dan, because I saw how Dan worked with everything, and I was thinking to myself, I could do this. I could attempt something like this myself. And
so
eventually
focusing more on live action or audio. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, it's sort of originally it was meant to be, because I can say it now, it's easy enough to do it, but it was originally going to be a 6-episode series, sort of similar to Fractured Time, because I thought, all right, 6 episodes seems like a good number, but I've decided to extend it to 8. But the reason for it will become clear, because the first 3 episodes are now going to be audios, but there will be a visual prequel and 3 visual mini-sodes to go along with the 3 episodes, to give an idea of what they would have looked like. Because I thought to myself, I don't want to, I think I went a little too big with some of them, that I think they'll work better in audio, and I think people will get a better reaction out of them, because, I've seen Connor and, say, like TT do stuff where they can give you a massive, extravagant thing, and like yourself, an extravagant build, around sound and everything, like the way people hear things. And I just, and B, because it's the 60th anniversary next year, when am I going to have the time to finish everything else?
Yeah.
But it's been good. It's been good building this Doctor and just getting a story and lore. Like, I've been working with some people on, say, CG models, other different redesigns of certain monsters. Like, I think you might have seen one on, like, maybe the
yes,
Discord.
I did actually on the
I mean, I'll give a shout out to him. Motion idea. He did I won't lie. There's me and Connor Chadwick can back me up with this. There was a night where we were there with Motion doing some 3D models of certain things, and we ended up building a whole lore around it for just all, like, and I mean, I can tease a few things. I mean, we're gonna have, obviously there's gonna be a companion, there'll be a few things happen. There's gonna be the Centaurans in episode 3, and I mean, like, I can definitely say this in some way. Like, it won't just be me as the Doctor. Like, I do have plans for another Doctor, and there's a lot of things to come up. But at the moment, I don't want to go too further and deeper into what, because once the prequel's out, I can start teasing things a bit more and trying to.
I've worked in Motion. Of course, we're all on the same Discord server, and we all know each other on there. And they made the Daleks for me as well. They made a custom set of Daleks. They're making a custom set of Cybermen. All the monsters that kind of can be redesigned, tailored towards techno and each Doctor. And I've got a whole plan for them. Might also create a few original Daleks for retro and everything in all my other Doctors. I work with Motion quite a lot. They are.
I mean, I've seen I've seen that edit that they did. Like, I looked at it and I just thought to myself, wow, because they just like took like different photos and just put them together, edited a certain layers and stuff over them. I went, this works. It could work. It works as just like, it builds a story just by what it is,
I'll have to get them on here for sure. That's definitely I'm definitely gonna ask them. But also working with Connor Overton.
Yeah,
Overton
the lovely Connor.
And also George, Instability Productions. Just wondering if you could tell us anything about what's it like being involved with those two, and also any future collaborations and projects you can tell us about. Of course, nothing that obviously spoils what they're doing. Of course, only talk about what you can talk about. We don't want to infringe on anyone else's content. That's hardly what we do. But yeah.
True. So I'll explain. Like, I'll kind of give a bit of backstory. So, like, I think it was around September last year, I sort of sent a message to Connor because we have been chatting and we just, sending funny videos to each other because we were all in a chat together for for Dimension stuff. And me and Connor just got talking and I went, well, man, I do a bit of writing there. Do you need any episode written for, oh, hey there, Mr. Severman, he is come.
In the corner there.
Lovely. But, yeah, he just went, oh, there's this episode coming up. Would you like to write for that? And I went, great. And I wrote that. And then it sort of evolved into, this thing of just, I kept writing for Connor. Like it kept on going into the fall and into the spring. And like, it's gone to a point now where I've written like a lot of scripts for him. And it's just, and I have a list of things I've done and things I need to do. And they're both starting to become level now with each other. And it's like, I don't know whether that's good or bad, because either if the done list goes below, it's good. If the more list goes above, I'm in danger. But it's so nice to do. Like, because funny enough, a lot of the stuff I voice for comes out first before anything I've written. I think the first thing, like, I think one of the first things I've written is going to be coming out in, I think, is it September or October? I don't know. What it's at the end of this year anyway. A lot of stuff, I know a few things are written by me are going to be coming out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it's definitely going to be interesting when those appear. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for them. There's definitely some stuff for next year that I've written that and even beyond. I don't even know how far beyond. Like, but it's lovely to actually be able to, write this stuff and just be like, look, I don't know when this is coming out, but I'll be very surprised and happy when it does. I mean,
I think
the stuff coming out.
Definitely I was talking to Connor about a schedule in his one and how he schedules every audio he does, and it's got to be admired how it's done. And yeah, I can imagine there are a lot of benefits, like having that patience to wait for the final product to come out. Okay, with what I do, it's more like when it's done, release it like a day or two after, because mine's more spaced out. But having it all scheduled, there must be a lot of benefits, especially for guest writers as well. Because
I mean, as someone who's had to look through like who's had to be given like some knowledge of when this stuff is coming out and understanding it, it's like, and having to do and applying it to my own kind of schedule for my stuff. It's just, it was insane. I was like, mate, how? and he just keeps telling me, I'm just staying ahead. It's just staying ahead of yourself and just making sure that you have stuff in the pipeline ready to go. And I'm just like, it's getting to that level. I have to get to that level. But he's just, I could definitely say like doing the voice work for him has been tremendous as well, because he's so cooperative, Connor. Like he really is that kind of guy who just like, I could say, I could pitch, like when you could pitch something to him and it's like, yeah, we can walk around it or whatever. And then when it comes to voicing, like you can give, I like to give variations on sometimes when I do the voice. Like I did one at one point, like I do a lot of, I could do a bit of this voice, or I could do a bit of an American voice, like what I did for Torchwood Rebirth, where I voiced an American voice. They're not great. I'm still perfecting them and learning and everything, but it's really pushed me forward, and just being involved in any of the projects that he's doing.
Yeah. I think voice acting in particular, it's a world I'm getting into myself as of recent. I mean, it's been a challenge, of course. I've worked on Scarlet Lust. I was on like
I've listened to some of that. Very good, man.
And that was more just my own voice, but kind of amplified a bit. I added more like a kind of more posh. A little bit more posh.
A bit more pronounced. You sound a bit more. It's I always think to myself, Aidan, you have to sound up yourself. Sound like you sound like you're better than everyone else.
And then I've done a few more voice roles recently. I've voiced a few monsters, which was very fun. I've been offered the role of the master and something. And at first, it was just 5 minutes of just me going insane. Then they wanted more. They want more of a posh McQueen master, more of a a kind of camp kind of like he's kind of like chaotic killer, but more more upper
Yeah,
class slash posh slash politician esque, less than the the creepy, more menacing masters, more
yeah,
gravelly, more more. I can't really do it now. My vocal cords are destroyed at the moment, but it more of the like the less manic, more sim crispy masters, more
yeah.
constantly laughing,
More of an
more
Ainley
calm.
Delgado type of thing you're looking
Yes,
for.
more calm
Yeah.
and collected, more
More of a voice
more
that sounds very similar to this, as in Doctor.
yes.
I've been expecting you.
My
Yes.
dear doctor, how you have
Hmm.
been ever so naive. My dear doctor, a new body at last. Something
At
more
last.
at
Yeah.
last.
I think it is as much as fun as it is playing the Doctor. It's weird to actually be able to play the, like, if trying to do the master to differentiate. It's kind
Mm,
of weird and it's fun because you get to play around with that, and
yeah.
you can either be manic or you can be passionate and uptight about
Mm.
it. Like, just be, well, I was expecting you, or then it's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Doctor.
Yeah, and you can like
uh,
and like with the doctor as well, actually, you can be really bombastic, you can be running, you can be like really like a tenant. Whoa, yeah, woo, well, yes, yes. Or you
yeah,
can be like a really
well, yeah,
collected, darker doctor, like more Capaldi-esque, like real focus, just complete focus all the time, just just and it's more like more deeper, more yourself than a more bombastic version. It's more
yeah. With the
just
Doctor,
generally just a bit like that, just a bit, more focused.
yeah.
Yeah.
We tend it's a bit of a vocal manipulation. I think James Sutton can agree with me, and
Mm,
it's really just pushing your voice down to the lowest it can go, and then
mm,
just, yeah. But then Peter Capaldi is just manic out there, and then it's all over the place, and then you
mm.
just get to Tom Baker, where you sound a bit more like this, a bit. But it's like, I'm a bohemian and I wear a scarf. Yes. Uh,
Yeah, and then
uh,
voicing a creature as well or a monster can be quite fun. I quite whenever I'm voicing a creature, I quite like to add a bit of gravel to it, like a bit of a depending on the creature I'm playing, of course, because of course you have really high pitched creatures and you have really low pitched creatures, and you have really kind of gravelly creatures, more gravel to it, more something like that. That's kind of similar to what I did to my master voice actually for a bit. Once I really lost it halfway through the
yeah.
test record, I really just went proper bonkers and started laughing and running around and delivering the lines like
Yeah.
I was proper insane, which to be fair in that moment I probably was.
I,
Um
as long as you don't go into one where it's like you start to sound like a Sesame Street character. I did one where I just went straight to, "Hi everybody, I'm Elmo. How are you? What's going on?"
It's an interesting world to be a part of, the world of voice acting, because of course you have amazing voice actors to work with, like Chris Walker Thompson, Alia Torre, yourself.
Yeah.
I Wink Taylor.
Oh,
I've worked with so many different voice actors.
Alia is insane. Like Adi, like I've
Mm,
heard, like, obviously the more recent stuff, I guess I can say, for like what she did for the Transcending Time episode,
mm.
for example. I like I listened to that early because it was, I think, I don't know where I heard it early, but I was just listening to her performance and I went, Christ, Alia, you were like, that's
Mm.
you know
I like giving her the intense character pieces. When she worked with
yeah,
me, I gave her 20 minutes of just her talking as Missy. It was like, what if Missy owned a podcast? And I gave her the chance to go as bonkers as humanly possible, and she delivered. And then I had her one as like a really in-depth character exploration into Susan. And I won't spoil the twist, but then there's like 1 whole minute of pure unfiltered anger as her as like adult Susan. And she did it all in just the best take possible. and she did it all in one take, no breaks during that 1 minute of just like a paragraph of dialogue. And like she really went for it. She channeled the emotion, and that's what it's one of the best things about voice acting and acting is really getting the chance to channel those emotions and inject them into your voice or your performances and your moving performance or your voice performance or your facial expressions, which is why I really love doing both. I've really kind of ventured into both worlds now, which of course
Yeah,
you
and I
did
mean,
before I did a while back.
yeah, I won't lie to you, man. I've been doing voice acting for years. It's
Mm.
just been like very, like I used to do it obviously for figure adventures because that's all just moving figures, you know. Like it's literally just like I'll get one there for you. Where is he? Dave, where's Dave? There's Dave. So you
Ah,
know,
there's Dave.
literally,
I've got quite a few Daleks here. I mean,
yeah. Oh, mate, I've got a whole mate. I've got literally one back there, one over there, all over here. It's
I'll show you
insane.
my favorites because I've got quite a few favorites. Uh, got them here. Ah, don't want that falling over. Almost lost an Imperial there.
Yeah. Oh my God. We don't. They do never lose an Imperial. They are rare. They are very
I
rare.
know. But yeah, so the first Dalek I want to show is this one, which is
Oh,
quite a nice one. I've also got this one. These are two of the big ones. Now this one, well, it has the ears pushed in, but this one has a very tragic backstory behind it because I brought it out at convention. Basically, it was a mother selling the toys of her son that she lost, and
oh,
so this has a lot of story behind
wait.
it. It's got
Yeah.
a lot of weight
Wait.
behind it, and I've taken great care of it, and I've taken very much great care of it. I think I
It's
bought this.
it's a great thing to do that for someone to like, you know, you're giving this dad like another life. You know what I mean? And as in it, like I always feel like with a toy, like you know, when a kid plays with it,
Yeah.
that's one part of its journey, and then when it goes on to something else, that's you know.
Basically the plot of Toy Story, really.
No, yeah, basically, like
And
literally.
this one I got a convention, but I find it very cool. I love this one.
Oh, the
And
custom ones are the best, honestly.
the other two are probably the most unique that I have because I've shown these off on my channel and I've shown these off in the Jack Reeves one, but I have this one,
Oh, I've seen that.
which is
Yeah,
the
I think
Doctor
I know
Who
who made
night.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Captain Jimmy Pie, and of course this one, which is
Oh,
this is the CBBC Aidan one from the early 2000s, 2010s.
yeah.
And I specifically asked for this one if he could make it, and he did. And it's been used as my intro for some of my videos for a while. I mean, all my Daleks kind of have a backstory behind them. A few of them do. But the best backstory actually is actually these, which is these two Cybermen. Because this one I brought over the Doctor exhibition back in 2006. It was
Oh,
actually a choice between this one and that one. And it's another great thing at Comic Cons because I recently found this one at LFCC and I instantly brought it because finally, after God knows how long at this point, I managed to get a hold of this one. And they both talk and stuff, but this one's kind of all muffled now. So there's that one that one doesn't have any batteries
mate,
in it. But
I love the product enterprise stuff. Like they are the
mm,
like from like I look at the TV movie ones and the TV show ones they made,
mm,
and I'm like, I would love to own them one day because they were like the original 12-inch Dalek figures and everything, you know.
yeah, this Dalek has the most emotional, most heartbreaking backstory, but I've tried to give it the best life I can. I always keep it on my shelf in good condition. Never really bring it off my shelf, but always kind of happy that it's there and always trying to
Yeah,
respect it and respect its legacy. But and these two Cybermen have a huge this one was a huge part of my childhood. So getting the silver one as well was amazing. But yeah. So
no,
that's my Dalek and Cyberman collection really. Well, I've got like around 30 more up there, possibly.
yeah. I mean, I've got a few behind me. Like I've got the favorite from my a few favorites from my collection are definitely
Mm.
the Planet Supreme, the Supreme from Remembrance of the Daleks, and a lot of the Imperials. Like I can't get over how good they are, and it's just even the Genesis stuff. Like I love the 70s to 80s look for like some of them, because I love the grunge. I don't know what it is, but that grungy look for the Daleks. Just I love it. The silver one is lovely. I love the silver stuff, but I'm like, it needs a bit of grunge for me.
I kind of like the tank look to them because it makes them look like weapons. It makes them look like they were bred for war. Kind of wish I love the bronze. I love the bronze Daleks, but that renegade scheme on a bronze Dalek would look incredible. I think it would be.
I made him. I did one years ago, and he just literally he took a screenshot from Dalek, I think it was, where it comes out of the lift, and I was like, mate, how? Because it just had the gray and black tint over it, and I went, why? It makes me think, why doesn't the new series do this? Because literally there was obviously Time Fracture. We've both been there. Like they had the blue and silver one in there, and I was thinking, it works alongside the bronze, you know.
All it would take would be a change in color scheme, and it would refresh them for the show. I mean, it's essentially the perfect casing. It's perfect in how it's designed. It just needs a different color scheme. That's all. I love the Paradigm Daleks. I really wish they'd bring them back. But in general, I wish they'd change.
Like Rory, that's what they did for that. What was it for? Sorry, no, someone's playing music outside. Well, I guess for like. Even someone's playing music outside, but
I can't hear it.
But it like in the 70s to the 80s, like a lot of them were the same props that were just changed and adapted, and they literally just were like, we're gonna give them a new color scheme, we're gonna put dots on the eyes, or we're gonna put different slats on them and everything. Because I've looked into this design, because I think at one point in our lives we've all wanted to build a Derelict, so we know the intricacies of it all. But I'm just like, I love looking at that history, because there's like, I don't know if you've ever seen him. It's like Dalek 1412 something. He's on YouTube, and it goes into the history and the behind the scenes. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, I love that. I'm fascinated, like yourself, by that look of behind the scenes of all how they did things back then, and how they had to organize this or get a prop to location. And it's like, this is we're that type of people now. We're having to do that stuff now, and it's just, we don't know how they were able to do it in the 60s then.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted a life-size Dalek ever since I was 6, 7, and they had the Doctor Adventures comics, and in each Doctor Adventures comics they'd often have this competition in which you could win a life-size Dalek, and I would do anything to win that competition. Never did, and I still hold that grudge to this day. I really wanted that. They'd like,
what's funny? Yeah? I do. I won't reveal who it is, but I do know somebody who might have won one of the competitions. And I just when they told me, I just went, mate, how it is one of the it's mental.
They're my worst enemy now. They are. I want that Dalek. I deserve that Dalek. I put in the work. I cut out all those. I colored in that Dalek for that competition where you had to give it a different color, and I put the work in for that Dalek. I deserve it. But yeah,
I mean, if you want, just go to the Who shop and just nick one. They did it back in the look. They did it in the 70s during Planet of the Daleks, and it works. Oh mate, that story was nuts. They nicked the top and the bottom of the two Daleks, and Terry Nation was just like, just take the two, the bottom and the top that didn't get stolen, and just do whatever you want with them.
But yeah, I've always wanted a life-size Dalek. It's been a dream of mine since I was that young. And they also did a competition for I think it was a Sycorax helmet, which was pretty cool. And there was also a few other creatures as well. They were just selling props via competitions, and I gotta respect them.
I mean, if I had the big anyone up now, I mean, it would be James Sutton, who, the man makes so many props. My God. Him and his crew are insane. Their attention to detail on everything is just immaculate.
I do intend to get him on here. I've as you know, we talk all the time on Discord, all of us in our group.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get him on here. I mean, I'm mostly jealous of his Alan Jackson statue from the Sarah Jane Adventures. that they have in their shop. They actually got it and restored it. I'm very, very jealous of that because that's a it's a cool
Yeah,
statue to have. And
I
that's a
remember
part
he
of my
sent.
childhood right there.
I remember when he sent the photo to us, and we just went, "Why?" And he just went, "Because why not?" And we were just like, "Fair enough, fair
And the
enough."
bubble shock drink he has as well. I feel like I'm fixating more on the Sarah Jane Adventures props than the Doctor Who ones because Sarah Jane Adventures was so good, just so good.
Oh,
It was best.
mate, Sarah, what was it? 13, was it 13 Bannerman Road is where Sarah Jane is. So
I've
yeah,
always wanted to visit. I want to go visit it.
yeah. I mean, I would say just walk past, just don't go in because I'd say be very careful going in because I'd say the owners would just be like, "Hi, random person on my driveway."
They get it a lot. I've seen a lot of people going onto their driveway and taking a picture. I imagine they're used to it by now. People dressed up as David Tennant or even Sarah Jane or Clyde and just walking up there. I mean, yeah, I've always wanted to visit just to get a picture out there, have a look.
I mean, honestly, if I can get if I went over, I'd literally drag myself or Guidra and all the boys up there, just.
I think, yeah, I would definitely go visit one day, and I do fully intend to. I'd love to go film at a Doctor Who location. Thinking about it, because like, I haven't seen that many fan films that actually film. Like, imagine if you were to go to like where they filmed Skaro for Destiny of the Daleks, because that's a location, or where they filmed the Centauran experiment, or just go around Cardiff for Torchwood live action.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely I know like for me, whenever I go over to London, like I am planning on filming an episode in London, and I'm just like thinking to myself, I'm definitely going to some locations that I can feasibly put in the episode because I'm like, it'd be nice for a callback. It'd be nice to sort of just have that shot in there
If you're ever
somewhere.
filming a Dalek story in London, you should go to
just,
where they filmed the
I
Remembrance
guess,
stuff.
have it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You first for a second there, but
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying how I'd like to go to London and film like some locations and stuff, and actually like just have them in there, just implement them and stuff. And
yeah, I mean, if it's a Dalek story, you should go to the Remembrance places because they film on the street of the Daleks walking around. Well, not walking around, but
I love the resurrection one would be insane, just to go to that Dockland area and just be like,
oh, I've got to
see this, you see there, lads, see where we are.
But even like the going to the BFI, because I go to all the BFI events, that they filmed scenes from Frontier and Space there, I believe.
Oh, is that the stairs or?
Yeah, the stairs. Those stairs, yeah.
I'm gonna, it is. I'm gonna put a message into Guide in the chat tonight because basically George is going to be involved in episode 4. I can't say as what for the moment, but I was like, George, you want to be involved in this? And he just went, yeah, why not? So we're sorting out how to film with it now, and it's not an instability thing, but it's to do with my series. But yeah, it should be interesting,
Cool. So I mean, talking to George, because we were, you mentioned George. What's I know you without spoiling content, of course, for George, but you mentioned you're working with instability. Is there anything you can say about that, or is that strictly?
I mean, like, well, the good news is I've gotten the all clear on it, but I'm also playing a doctor on instability. So I'm like Thanos. I'm just collecting across my Infinity Gauntlet of doctors or characters. But I'm going to be Doctor Who, one of the Doctor Who's. Obviously there's a few there. I don't want to name any of them because I don't know which. Like I know there's George. There's obviously Jed's involved. So it's them two. And I'll be honest, working with them is insane. Jed's output is nearly the same is near enough on the same level, or even more so than Connor's because he just.
I know. I mean, the fact that Jed writes incredibly quickly. I mean, genuinely.
The guy's got a degree in this stuff. He's
mad
set.
though, even for a person with a degree. He is completely mad. Like ingenious, completely ingenious. I mean, I love his stuff. It's insane. There's a reason I keep going back to work with him is because he's a good mate and he's an incredible writer. I
Yeah,
think
he's just released his whole Nexus Point stuff, and like obviously he's trying to work with some Star Trek things at the moment. And
yeah,
like, mate, your output is a lot. Like
it is.
you were going at a fast pace that I can't even see. You know?
I mean, it's genuinely insane, and props to Jed. I mean, his stuff is really out there, really bombastic, and it's genuinely incredible. Like I wouldn't, because me and him we work on Endgame quite a lot. He's helping with the fan film that I'm working on.
Yeah,
Because there is no. I feel like his writing is genuinely some of the best I've ever seen from, well, just in general, really. I really enjoy
yeah.
working with him, and there's no
I mean,
better person I trust with Endgame than him. I think he's,
no word of a lie. The man's a veteran. The man's a
Mhm.
veteran of
Oh
this
yeah,
community.
I've
Like
had him on
he's,
the show. It was incredible talking to him and figuring
yeah.
out his process.
I mean, when he talked to me about the different eras of everything and just, talk like, because we talked on my one a couple of months ago. I have to release that. I have to get that out at some point. But
Hmm.
like, it was lovely. Like, because he said the same thing that he said to you, to me, that he said to you, that this is it's a very, you can really see when you look at it from an outside perspective how many errors there were
Yeah,
or are
yeah,
now in the community. I mean, we're in a very new era right now. I mean, Rory, I won't lie, like there's stuff with obviously you, with me, with many other people, like like Eamon, or
mm,
I guess George, I guess you could say George as well. Like that's coming out. It's sort of the new age. It's a new
yeah,
age
yeah,
things that are happening, and it's wonderful. And I mean, obviously, you got Torchwood 2000 with their projects like Memories Are Forever, and it's you
yeah. I
know,
recently rewatched some of their stuff, and it holds up. It's genuinely phenomenal. I absolutely love their stuff. And I mean, I must say, Jax, this is my favorite character from that. I'm hoping to get Ruben on the show. I have asked. And I really hope to talk to him because that'd be. I have met him at LFCC actually, and he's a delightful person to talk to. And of course, I'd
yeah,
love to talk to obviously other people involved in it as well because it's so well put together.
yeah.
It's just incredible that set of fan films. I look forward to the rest of Memories of Forever because chapter one was blew my mind.
Oh,
It was.
the amount of work put into that is just incredible. Like from what I saw, what I looked at behind the scenes, because he put out a vlog recently, and I just went, "Oh my god, how?" Like I looked at that and I went, "I feel like I can do this," but it's also like, how did they do this? And
Yeah.
it's like,
It's incredible stuff, really. Just
yeah,
perfect. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
and it's honestly incredible working with everyone. Like, I mean,
Mm,
trailing back to moving like back to George, like working with George and Instability. It's lovely seeing this difference here with because I think
mm.
George asked. I remember when George asked me about this stuff, wanted to be involved, and I just went, "Mate, I'm up for anything." Like, because it's just it allows me to do a different type of
Yeah.
situation, different doctor, different type of thing. Like I watched George. I remember last year I watched George's mini-sode with himself, Jed, and Casey, and that was lovely. Like, because Katie's a bundle of joy. From what I've
Oh yeah.
from the brief conversations I've had with Katie, she's a bundle of joy, and that's
She is
pretty much
brilliant.
all
She's
you need.
amazing. Gotta say.
And I mean, Jed is Jed. Brilliant, and George is just wonderful. And I mean, like the amount of work like behind the scenes that I can't say at the moment, but the amount of work going into this whole thing is insane. I can't even describe it, like, because it's just because when it's Jed involved, it's insane because
Oh yeah.
you can't explain it because it's intricate. There's a lot of layers to these things, and the stuff that he's looking for me to do with Divine is very different to what I want to do with Burgundy, for example. Like I'll give it on the characteristics. Like Burgundy is very much like me. So what you're talking to now is sort of like, this is me, but imagine a more exaggerated version of myself. It's sort of
Mm.
like how a lot of the lads, like say I'll say like maybe Dan, I guess Dom, or what else would I say on the list? Like I wouldn't say George because George has two doctors, so he's able to fluctuate parts of himself. But it's that thing of exaggerating yourself to a point of becoming the doctor. I mean, Pertwee did that. They told
Yeah.
him to just play it as John Pertwee, and he just went, okay, I've just got to play it as myself, but a bit more out there, outlandish, and
I think
all that
it's
type of.
happening the same with me in techno as well. I mean, techno essentially what it is, it's just me on a bad day. That's what it is. It's just
Yeah,
exaggerated, and even me on a good day. I mean, for the happy scenes, but like for the most part, it's based a lot of what's happening with techno in the film I'm making and its arc as a whole is me injecting some of what's happened to me this year because that's when I
yeah,
came up with techno, and it's just injecting that kind of having your life changed by something so monumental
mm.
that you kind of in his post generation. I don't want to get too much into it because I'll end up rambling and
Yeah.
spoiling it
Don't
all.
spoil, don't spoil it, man. Don't
But
spoil it.
yeah, he goes through a lot, and it's very much an
Yeah,
exaggerated version of me, whether it be on a good day or a bad day.
yeah.
Mainly bad days for techno,
I mean, with
unfortunately.
like with Burgundy, Burgundy is like I sort of put him as he's a mix of things, and it's very much
Mm,
like as you said, like I like me. I've had stuff happen to me in the last 2 years that is just it's been good, it's been bad, and I've just tried to inject a lot of that, like you're doing with techno, into the character. We take these moments from our life and we use them as fuel to what we do, and our we do ourselves. And I mean, with what Jed want, like when Jed and George approached me for like doing Divine, they really gave me a different. Like it was nice to see a different edge to a character, like because they're like he's not like Burgundy. He's more. He's got
mm,
certain things that happen here and here, and we really want to develop it. He was, And when George originally said he was just going to be a past doctor, and I went, mate, that's a brick. Like that, I honestly appreciate that so much to be able to breathe life into this incarnation, give him a real like difference. Because the way I play Burgundy is very similar to say, I guess 12, like a bit of 12, a bit of 10, and a bit of maybe 9 and a bit of 8. With like with Divine, you're gonna see a lot of, I guess, 1 and 7. I really went to McCoy when I was looking into this, when they were telling me about this doctor, and I was like, I really want to be like, I really want to feel how McCoy was doing it back in 80, 88 and 89, because he had a certain flair when he get into his darker moments,
mm.
especially on Big Finish. I
I
could
mean, yeah, they really
listen for
exemplified
hours.
his
Yeah,
darkness and what they did with his character. That's for
yeah,
sure. I mean, that's what McCoy wanted to do when he carried on. I mean, if he did, and I'm
yeah.
sorry if I'm a bit distracted. Everyone is commenting Absorbeloff on Twitter for no reason.
But
Everyone's
I feel
just,
like we're on the cusp of another mad like Twitter thing that goes on about. It'll be a mad trend about the Absorbloff being the godsend that was, Baby Yoda,
I mean,
or
literally everyone is just posting the word Absorbeloff or just Absorbeloff stuff. This is my time. This is my time.
this
Finally,
is
it's
your
here.
time. You've arrived in your time, Rory. Oh my God.
This is the revolution. Finally,
There-
people are praising the Absorbeloff. This is what I've been waiting for.
you are Korg right now. It's like the revolution has begun. But like honestly, in the audios, like I remember I listened to a clip where this woman, I think it was this thing was happening with the doctor, and this woman was going, "Doctor, pity me," and
Yes,
then
Afterlife,
McCoy looks at her and goes,
one of the
"Yeah,
best
me."
performances ever, ever.
Oh, that is when I listened to that, I just went, if I like, because I remember when they were talking to me, they were like, "We need, what do you want to do?" And then when I listened to that clip a few days later, I went, "Yep, that's what I want to do. Part of that is what I want to do. Like that
Mm,
is dead set." Like I remember I did the voice for George and Jed, and they went, "That's it, we're good." But
mhm.
it's fun, man. It's weird being two doctors, because I know, like,
Yeah,
I don't know if any of the other lads have done it. I know obviously Dom does the
George has
architect.
played like five different Doctors at this point. He is
Right?
like
Which person?
George Gadera.
Yeah, George is literally like
He is so many Doctors.
the man's got his infinity gauntlet ready. Like he's ready to
I
wipe
mean,
out
I
the
even
rest
did
of
an
it.
episode. Well, Jed did. He wrote it and edited it actually. But
Oh, I listened to that one. Yeah,
we
that were,
surpassed New Faces, a part of the Endgame saga, and George had to perform all of his Doctors, and he did it brilliantly. Like all of them were different, and it's just genuinely just amazing how he manages all of them. I mean, I know Dom does as well. I feel like he has two Doctors. Because
I don't know. I mean, well, I mean, to be fair, I can actually like remember when like Dom like if do you remember the fan film Doctor Who Generations from a couple of years ago?
yes,
Yeah, Dom had a doctor in that I think
that
a
was
while
his.
back.
Yeah, that's the one. I think that was the one I was talking about because he had.
Yeah,
Yeah, he has two doctors. That one and the purple, I think. And I think I'm not sure
yeah,
if he has
and
any
I mean,
more. I'll have to ask him.
yeah, they're very like it's interesting seeing that because I asked Dom about it and he just went, yeah, that was sort of the prototype purple in a way. Like there are parts of it that
I
aren't
think it was called the Chaotix
purple.
Doctor. I think that was it.
Yeah, the chaotic doctor, yeah.
And that was
And
a
it's sort of
reference
like,
to Sonic Knuckles Chaotix.
yeah,
And
I mean, to be fair, like, you know, there's imagine there was a chaos doctor, there'd be a chaotic doctor, the chaos doctor. This should be it'd be like all the chaos. It's all happening now. It's all over the you know. But I mean, it's yeah, it's I mean, what he's done with the architect, for example, is
oh, the
impressive. Like,
Architect, one of my favorite characters to write for that one. I mean,
uh,
he's in Endgame quite a lot, and I genuinely I love playing around with the architects and the concept behind him. I mean, having I mean, Endgame gets very meta eventually. Won't spoil any of that, but having the architect, he's like he knows he's a plot device. The
yeah,
man is so self-aware. He just knows what his purpose is, and I loved for Endgame just leaving him in like blind, leaving him in the dark because he doesn't know the ending. He doesn't know how it's going to play out, so
yeah.
he has to get involved.
It's like you know what it is. It's like if you're on, say, you're reading a book and you can't see the pages ahead, or you're on a
Mm,
YouTube video and you can't skip ahead. There's moments
exactly.
where you're on YouTube and it's like, you know what it is. He's watching. It's like watching a YouTube video on on premiere mode,
Mm,
so he can only see it as it's
yeah.
coming in.
I think I told this to Connor on his one, but with Endgame, there's always restrictions what you can do with other people's characters, of course, because if you're collaborating with someone, you're writing them for your channel, you can't exactly kill them off and then not bring them back because if you don't bring them back, that's gonna what the hell are they supposed to do?
Yeah,
Pretty much ignore you basically.
with Endgame, you've
But
got a very wide variety there. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, Christ, in Multiverse of Madness, they wiped out Reed Richards, a
mm.
Captain Marvel, a Captain
I mean, I
Carter,
do kill off a few fan doctors, but then I've made it clear that I can't leave any lasting impacts on their universe or their
yeah,
content because that's their content. If I'm, bringing them into mine, I can't really do anything that has any repercussions unless
yeah,
they want that, in which case I will deliver. But with the architect, I obviously asked questions to Dom on what I can and can't do.
yeah,
I did actually have a really meta idea where he had known he was being voice acted and he'd have a conversation with himself. He would have a conversation with Dom through himself. And he'd also know the writer was writing it for both of them to voice. And it just get
yeah,
endlessly more complicated until it kind of becomes its own paradox. But
yeah,
because Dom didn't want that, and that's fair enough. His character, what he wants, and obviously yeah, but I'll do that for another character another time.
yeah. I mean that's normal. Like you get like because
Hmm.
like the collaboration is like in a way it's key, and it's good when
Yeah,
you can like. And I mean, I guess how would
I
I
mean,
put it? Like with like say with like you know obviously like we
I
can all
said
have
it
questions.
for the Connor one, but collaboration is the backbone of this fan base. It's the backbone of what we do. Without it, we probably wouldn't have half the content that we actually have. And
I mean,
yeah,
mate, the wilderness years are an example of collaboration to its finest. Because I mean,
mm,
back then you had not like I won't lie, right? I know people will like throw around a bit, but like it was uncertainty. It was or, like I mean, I didn't really know about Doctor Who because you live in Ireland, you don't really have a big fan base here that's going to tell you, oh, this show was on in 1989, it's come back in 2005. But it's
yeah,
like when you go back and look at it, it's very interesting to see how the fans pulled everything they could together and tried to keep everything alive. And it's the same with like say I can think of a couple of times that it's happened again where you'd have 2016 where Doctor Who went off the air for a year,
mm,
or like 2018 after Capaldi
yeah,
left, where or even what is it, 2019, before before everything that happened. Like the fans kept it alive through everything they were doing, because they just had, like, there's this outpour of love that I always see.
Exactly. It's
I mean,
beautiful, really, at the end of the day.
I mean, mate,
And we all
like
come together and
like
do this.
last week or the week before, when sadly obviously we lost David Warner and Bernard Cribbins, mate, I was like, I knew what if David Warner's been in, like, say, Tron or some Star Trek stuff, but Cribbins hit me like a wall, mate. Like I was just out. Like, I won't lie. Sarah Jane Adventures was the first time I've seen the Doctor on screen. The first time I saw David Tennant run through those doors and go, "Stop this wedding now," and all that stuff. And I went on from there to look more into Doctor Who. But Cribbins, that was the first time I'd seen the Daleks at all. Like in anything, that was the first real Doctor Who thing. I remember being at my dad's, and I was in his sitting room watching on the big TV the Dalek Invasion of Earth, and just seeing Cribbins, for me, was the main guy. He was the main guy going in and get everything done, and he was, he just had that comedic timing that I was thinking
I know,
myself.
it's a magnificent performance and magnificent movie. It was a pleasure seeing it in cinema as well.
Yeah, I mean, mate, I would have loved to have seen it in cinema. Like, it's a different level of enjoyment, and I think, you know what it is. I do like Doctor Who and the Daleks as well, but I think Invasion of Earth just has that, like, when you induce that bit of Cribbins into it. Cribbins just has that way about himself. I've seen him in other films before, like, that could be in black and white or Faulty Towers or anything like that, or the one he did. I can't remember the name of the bit, but he's on stage and he does a whole thing about she said, he said, all that stuff, and I'm just the man was on form.
He was a legend. I don't think any like obviously I didn't personally know the man, but through that, like there's a certain loss, like feeling of loss when you lose someone that you grew up watching, that their character, that their performance connected with you. I think that is the biggest loss since Elizabeth Sladen for me, in terms of that sort of
I'm
loss.
with you. I remember in 2011 being in a sitting room and just seeing that laptop thing that she passed away, and like when I saw that Cribbins passed, because Connor sent me a message that morning of Russell T Davis's message, and I just went, no. But then literally it hit me, because I think in a weird way, right? I like to think of Wilf, the character of Wilf. The way Cribbins did it was so well weaved into Ten's era that I don't see Ten's era without Wilf. Because
I think he's one of the most important characters in the entirety of Doctor Who. He's the only character that I could see playing the Doctor's father figure. Because that's,
I mean, like, you got to think about it. Wilf, in a weird way, is one of the things that kept the Doctor and Donna connected. Even when Donna's not even there, when in Voyage of the Damned, when the Doctor is talking to Wilf, that's still connected to the whole Doctor Donna thing. And then at the end of it all, in the end of time, when they're both together and like just enjoying each other's company, and you're there thinking, oh, this can't end. And then when it does, it's just I've never, that end shot, which in my mind it's Cribbins, kind of saluting the fan base in a way, when he does that final salute to the Doctor as if saying goodbye to an old soldier, an old friend. It just leaves, like, you gotta think this is a comedy actor, a singer, or a comedian, and he's just there giving his all to this, and it just,
I mean, it breaks my heart looking at it, but it's wonderful. It's a wonderful performance, a wonderful character. I think, we'll all miss Bernard Cribbins. There is a Bernard Cribbins shaped hole in the universe now.
I think that day, like, I won't lie, I was like, with respect to Cribbins, the day he passed, when the whole fan base turned out to show their support of him and everything, I was like, that made me smile, because that's just love, just pure love from everyone.
I love it when that happens. Like, back when Elizabeth Sladen passed, there were so many, I believe there were so many tributes, so many comments left on the Newsground website that it actually broke the site. They couldn't handle how many tributes and stories being shared to the point in which it just broke. And
Yeah.
it's truly, I think there's so much to it and there's so much sadness. Yeah, it really was kind of a nation's granddad to so many different generations.
Yeah.
Like with
I mean, he
performances
was
in
in the.
kids
I mean, he was in the
programs.
Wombles, and he was in the Wombles, and he did the narrations for other things, and it was
Mm,
just. He always felt, in a weird way, I think for the UK especially, he was always there. He was always in the background for
yeah,
people. Yeah,
yeah,
but it's going to be good to see him in the 60th. Yeah, like, because I
it'll be
think no
bittersweet,
matter,
very bittersweet.
yeah, no matter what, it'll be great to see him in that. It'll be great to see David Warner, obviously, in the sixth, because obviously he was, it didn't,
He was in the 60th with Eccleston, I
yeah,
think.
because
Yeah,
I love how Eccleston just went out and stage and went, oh, well, I'm doing something with David Warner. Briggs is in the back having a hernia over that, probably.
yeah.
Oh, but
I mean,
honestly,
I
I
look forward
think,
to seeing them both.
yeah, I
More.
like, this. I like the fact, looking in hindsight, it's great that Chris said that, because now we can all just be, in a way, we can be like, we get to say goodbye in a nice way to these two legendary actors, who've just, in the craft that we all want to do, that you and me want to get into and work in this industry, that they've
Mm,
accomplished. They've done what they wanted to do.
yeah, and yeah. Moving on to one final discussion, well, a few final discussions really.
No
It's
worry.
usually a discussion that I have with most creatives, but I just want to ask you more about your creative process and how you write, how you voice act individually, because there's a lot goes into them. Of course, we've discussed voice acting, but just your creative process in general. Like, how do you deal with writer's block when it comes to writing and stuff like that? And how do you? Because every writer has a different way of working a story. Some begin at the end and work their way back. Some do it. We all do it in different ways. I really like hearing an insight into other people's creative processes. So yeah, take it away.
Well, I mean, one of the weird ways I would say writing comes to me is like, it comes in a burst. Like, I really do just hit the ground running with something, and I try my best to keep going until I get to the end of a script. But sometimes then I have to take a few steps back and retrace over it and think, okay, maybe this doesn't work for this size of a script, maybe a 20-page or a 30-page, or maybe it has to be this, And it's thinking about it's nice in a way to have guidelines, to know how long a script has to be, how many things can you fit into one episode or get done. And
Mm.
like, I guess when it comes to the creative block, the one thing that really helped me was last week, actually, when I took a bit of a break off some socials, so Twitter, Instagram. Well, my main Instagram. I went on to my personal one just because that's family and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
and obviously, like, what other one? Facebook. Like, I went off a couple of them just to give myself a break from the community. And like, I popped up here and there, but I really wanted to focus on planning out everything I'm doing. And honest to God, I've made myself more ahead of everything by just doing. Like, I think sometimes it's good to shut yourself away, because then it gives your brain time to refresh on what you're aiming to do. And I've just come back with this more of a creative push to get things done,
Yeah.
and it's, and of course, working with the guys, that really does help in a way, and it just, like, when they give me stuff to do, to write or voice, it just pushes me on. And what I'd say to people is, if you get into a deadlock where you feel like, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know how we can get over this, it's just take time out, go away from it for a while. What you should do, like, I mean, sometimes what I do is I try and act out. Like, people say, you're talking to yourself. I go, no, I'm trying to act this scene out from both characters to see, could this make comprehensive sense,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
at least, like, say if I was having a conversation between, I don't know, Burgundy and, like, I don't know, Monster, it's like, I want to make sure that conversation makes sense, not only to the story, but between the characters. And once I get that sorted, then I can just go back to the script and just be like, okay, so I can type this down, get that ready and go. And then it's done, out to the voice actors and everyone, and just get through the process. And the editing then is just you just have to think to yourself, when you were writing the script, how did you feel in that moment? What do you want this episode to feel like? And just push on, and you'll get a great result out of it,
Yeah,
and everyone's result will be different,
Yeah, I think it's a very healthy process to have. And yeah, I mean, I've been going through burnout myself. I've been taking breaks and stuff like that, and I think yeah, it does help. And
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it helped Connor. I mean, it definitely helped Connor. I think Connor had a great break, and then I think he's mentioned it before. He had the break, and then he just went, "Oh God, the schedule."
Yeah, he
But
mentioned it on the podcast we had the other day.
But he did, from what I've heard, he did hit the ground running then, and just he tried his best, and he's back. Like from what I've heard, he's back on schedule now. So happy days,
Yeah, well, yeah. So, if there's anything else you feel like discussing, and any other specific stuff you want to talk about?
I guess a shout out to TT Productions, because just to because I know Abby's probably one of the people watching right now. I see you, Abby. I see you there. I see you, Chelsea, also on the side. They're like a dynamic duo now these days.
It's
yeah. No. So it's so definitely, like, I mean, I won't beat you around the bush. Like, Chelsea is an amazing actor. Like, the amount of roles and diverse things she's been doing over the years has just been crazy. To go from just doing Julia Breslin for in the cravat stories and her own stuff, to now doing stuff like Molly. Honest to God, like, I've been on the Zen. Like, if you've been on the Zencaster, I've had the Zen. Like, what she's had to do for Molly was insane. The whole cast, it was it's just a lovely system, and it's different. It's different than just recording by yourself, because you're on with everybody else.
I've
like a weird stage
talked about
play,
their process of recording it quite a few times on here. I mean, I actually brought Abby on the show with Jack Reeves back in the day. Back to Jack again. If you're watching this, Jack, hello. Yeah, I mean, and I've worked with TT Productions. I've been in the same casts, and I've been in quite a few times now, and it's always a wonderful experience. I went in for Scarlet Lost, and then I believe I was in the same cast with for Foxgrove for Venus Blint, but purely TT Productions. I was in for Scarlet Lost, and that was a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a new experience, a new way of doing things. And I see the benefits there. I see a lot of benefits with it. It's genuinely an amazing process, and it also gives more room for directors and more direction in audio. I think it's mainly how Big Finish do it. So I'm glad it's being kind of adapted here for TT.
Abby's just gotten more people on to do editing and as well. I'm just like, because there's obviously on Twitter, like, there's been a few things where Abby's talked about burnout and things like that. Well, you've mentioned, but we just talked about, and trying to motivate yourself to do things. And honestly, like, it's great to widen it out, because that's, like, I won't lie, I've had to do that with my stuff for the Arcadian universe. Like, I'm a few of my buddies who want to get into editing, I've asked them to come on and just try and give me a hand doing things. Like, I think they asked, like, they were like, oh mate, we know you're making this series and whatnot. Could we do some of the stuff for the audios, because we want to edit, we want to kind of learn, because one of them's just finished a course in film and editing and all that stuff. And I went, okay. And then my buddy has done another course from a few years ago. So it's great to see that Abby and them are also implicating that type of thing, where it's getting a nice team and we're all doing stuff together, and it's great to see that. And I'll be interested to see what people come out with, like, that people have actually edited it, because I want to see that. I like seeing the different styles, because for example, like,
it will be amazing seeing so much talent and seeing how it comes out.
I mean, for example, I saw a video where basically, I won't give it away, but there's two people who I know who basically they both got sent the same type of voices and different characters for things, basically the same script, same voice actors, but it was edited in a very different way. It was, and I just, when I looked at it, when I listened to it on one side and then on the other, I was like, it's weirdly, it's great to see those different styles, because it's like a director's cut and the theatrical, but it's, these guys are just taking the same stuff, the same assets, the same elements, and done it
and
very
done it in a
differently.
different way. I mean, everyone has their
Yeah,
own unique style, and it's brilliant to see. And I'm glad
yeah,
TT Productions is working with more people. I love
yeah,
seeing more creative minds in the fandom. I mean, it thrives
yeah,
on it. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
We breed it.
it'd be
We breed
amazing.
it.
But yeah, if that, but yeah, it's been lovely talking to you. I think,
Same.
yeah, it really has been lovely talking to you. If you have anything to plug, by all means,
Right.
now's the time.
Right. I got them in my head. Let's go. Okay. So first off, my own stuffs, obviously. So SC is my YouTube tag. It's Super Circus or SC on here. Type 40 underscore cosplay on Instagram. Type 40 cos 98 on TikTok. And I want to plug Overton Audio's Fracture Timeline, Dark Legends by John and Harper, Scarecrow Props, that's James, just Chelsea Lagging, why not? TT Productions, Manifest Productions, and Lungbarrow Brothers, that's Jed. Lungbarrow Brothers, sorry, I got that wrong. I got that wrong. Instability Productions, which is George and all the boys. Then, oh, come on. Remnants, the Who Chaser, that's Dom. And I'm just trying to think now for where I have to stop myself. But Motion Idea, because Motion has done some amazing stuff. Definitely check it out on Instagram. Rory, I guess, because Rory happily invited me on here, so and just yeah, that that's all I got at the moment because I have nothing else. But
Well,
it's
all words will be in the description below. And it's been a pleasure
yay,
talking to you. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
man.
Make sure everyone subscribes to me, of course, and leave a like and share this video around. And it really has been a pleasure talking to you. And
Same to you, man. Same to
yeah,
you.
I suppose that's it then. Bye, everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye. And stop recording.